She looked him straight in the eyes, tears running down her face, and whispered, "I can't walk. Leave me." The frightened crowd froze, believing there was nothing anyone could do. But one exhausted single father stepped forward, ignored every voice telling him to wait, and made a choice so unexpected that it changed not only her life, but his own forever. If you believe kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances can still change the world, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey with our family and our community. Gareth Holloway had spent the last 5 years raising his 8-year-old daughter, Elsie, alone after losing his wife to a sudden illness. Every day was a balancing act between working as a city bus mechanic and being the father his daughter deserved. Money was tight, sleep was rare, and grief still visited him in quiet moments, but Gareth refused to let hardship steal his kindness. His late wife had always told him that people remember compassion far longer than success, and he carried those words with him every day. One bright afternoon, after finishing work early, Gareth picked Elsie up from school and decided they would walk through Riverside Park before heading home. The park was full of families, musicians, children flying kites, and elderly couples enjoying the sunshine. It was the kind of afternoon that reminded Gareth life could still be beautiful despite everything he had endured. As they approached a small pedestrian bridge, they noticed a young woman sitting on the ground beside the pathway. Several people stood nearby, unsure what to do. She was pale, breathing heavily, and trying unsuccessfully to stand. Every attempt ended with her collapsing back onto the pavement. Her name was Celeste Rowan. Only minutes earlier she had slipped while avoiding a cyclist. The fall severely injured her ankle and possibly her knee. Every movement sent waves of pain through her body. Someone suggested waiting for emergency services. Another person pulled out a phone to record what was happening instead of helping. Tears filled Celeste's eyes as she looked around at strangers who seemed uncertain whether to act. Then she looked toward Gareth and quietly pleaded, "I can't walk. Leave me." Most people would have stepped back. Gareth stepped closer. He calmly asked another bystander to confirm that an ambulance had already been called. After learning help was on the way but delayed because of heavy traffic, he removed his light jacket, folded it beneath Celeste's injured leg to keep it stable, and comforted her while making sure she remained as still as possible. Rather than trying to move her unsafely, he stayed with her, reassuring her that she wouldn't face the frightening weight alone. Little Elsie gently held Celeste's hand, offering quiet encouragement that somehow eased the fear in her eyes. Those 20 minutes felt much longer. Celeste admitted she had recently moved to the city for a teaching position and knew almost no one nearby. Her parents had both passed away years earlier, and she had built a life based on independence because she believed asking for help only disappointed people. Watching Gareth patiently care for a complete stranger challenged everything she believed. When paramedics finally arrived, they thanked Gareth for keeping her calm and preventing further injury by avoiding unnecessary movement. Before leaving, Celeste smiled weakly at Elsie and thanked both of them. Gareth assumed that would be the end of the story. Several weeks later, while helping Elsie choose books at the neighborhood library, he heard a familiar voice thanking the librarian. Turning around, he recognized Celeste. She walked carefully with the help of a cane, but she was recovering well. She immediately recognized Gareth and warmly introduced herself properly. She also surprised Elsie by remembering her name. The three of them shared coffee and hot chocolate at a nearby cafe that afternoon. Celeste explained she had returned to teaching sooner than expected because she loved helping children discover confidence through reading and creative writing. Gareth admired how determined she remained despite her painful recovery. Their friendship developed naturally. Some weekends they visited local museums. Other afternoons they volunteered together reading stories at children's hospitals. Elsie quickly grew attached to Celeste, who treated her with patience, warmth, and genuine affection rather than trying to replace the mother she had lost. For Gareth, spending time with Celeste slowly reopened parts of his heart he thought grief had permanently closed. Yet both carried hidden fears. Gareth worried loving someone again would somehow betray the memory of his late wife. Celeste feared becoming dependent on anyone after spending years convincing herself she needed nobody. Then another challenge appeared. Months after her accident, doctors discovered lingering complications requiring another lengthy rehabilitation program. Recovery would once again become slow and uncertain. When Celeste learned she might temporarily lose much of her mobility, she quietly withdrew from everyone. She cancelled plans. Stopped answering messages. Convinced herself Gareth deserved someone whose life wasn't complicated. One sunny afternoon Gareth visited her apartment carrying groceries and several drawings Elsie had made. Among them was a picture of the three of them standing together beneath a large rainbow. Written across the top were simple words. "Families help each other stand." Looking at the drawing, Celeste finally broke down in tears. She realized strength did not always mean facing every hardship alone. Sometimes true courage meant allowing others to care. During the following months Gareth drove her to therapy appointments, while Elsie celebrated every small improvement. The little girl clapped enthusiastically the day Celeste walked across the rehabilitation garden without using her cane. The therapists smiled. Patients nearby applauded. It wasn't simply a physical victory. It was hope becoming visible. As Celeste regained confidence, she organized a community reading program for children recovering from injuries and illnesses. Inspired by her determination, Gareth volunteered to renovate neglected play areas beside the rehabilitation center. Together they transformed forgotten spaces into places filled with books, flowers, benches, and laughter. The community noticed. Neighbors who had once been strangers began volunteering too. One act of compassion spread quietly from person to person. A year after the accident, the rehabilitation center hosted a daytime celebration honoring volunteers. Children performed songs. Families shared meals beneath colorful banners. Doctors thanked everyone who had contributed to the center's success. Standing before the crowd, Celeste reflected on the afternoon she believed she had been completely alone. She remembered telling a stranger to leave. Instead, he stayed. Not because he expected anything in return. Because kindness simply refused to walk away. Before this story comes to its close, we would love to hear from you. Please leave a meaningful comment telling us whether you believe the greatest strength is standing on your own or allowing someone to stand beside you when life becomes difficult. Looking around at Gareth, Elsie, and the joyful families filling the rehabilitation garden, Celeste understood that healing rarely happens through medicine alone. Sometimes healing begins when one compassionate person decides another human being is worth waiting with, worth encouraging, and worth believing in. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. May this story remind us that the strongest people are not always those who carry others on their backs, but those who refuse to leave someone behind when they need a hand, a little hope, and the reassurance that they never have to face life's hardest moments alone.